Hello everyone, I'm Juniper. Welcome to the family, and this is episode 1 of Juniper Coast. I'm looking forward to this particular series. It's going to be very unscripted, very open. As you can tell, time's paused right now with all the traffic on the highways, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and zoom back out here. There we go. Out of the cinematic camera. As you can tell, we've got a lot of wide open spots to be able to build and have a lot of fun with. The whole goal of this series is to just sort of have a little bit of a relaxing time. I'm going to use this as sort of a way to unwind throughout the day and the week and just kind of record and have a bunch of fun. Hopefully you all enjoy it as well. I'm going to try to ask you guys how you want the city to be built throughout the different recordings. And I'm going to try to keep it on a little bit of a uncommon low-key demeanor. And hopefully y'all will enjoy a little bit more of a relaxing series rather than some of the more high-paced things we tend to get into. As you can tell, we've got one building already as part of the map. Who am I kidding? I put it in there, but as part of the lore, we've got a single observatory that I put up there. Observatory, however you want to pronounce it. This camera likes sticking to the mountains. But we do have different places already established. Here's what the map looks like from the top angle. And I picked this map because it was called Pacifica in the Steam Workshop. And I wanted it to feel very much like the Pacific Northwest. And so that's kind of what we're going for here, is Pacific Northwest. This is how I'm going to have the map angled: north, south, east, west. So north over by Chirper up here, south, east, and west is how we're going to have it. So it's kind of a south bay type thing, but I guess if you really wanted to, we could go this angle. I'll let you all decide how this goes. We could have this be the north now. So Tally would be in the north. Do you want Tally in the north, or do you want Tally in the south? I'll let you all pick. Mention that in the comments section how you want it. And I'll tell you all what we've got going on. The live play like this is going to be very uncommon. This is going to be sort of the first and probably one of the only live plays that we will do. We will do live plays probably once every 5 to 10 episodes. It's going to be very much a time-lapse type thing. We'll also have a time-lapse on this episode, but because we're just starting out, I wanted to show you kind of what we have to work with at the very beginning and explain why I've got a couple of different things going on. So down over here in Tally, whichever direction we want to do it, we'll keep it up here for now, but you all pick what direction you want. Somebody suggested Tally. I believe it was Don't Ask who suggested Tally. Tally Fields or Tally York, I believe, and it's spelled with an IE. That felt very much British to me, which was, just fine. But because we're going for a Pacific Northwest vibe and whatnot, I decided to take the IE and make it a Y, and then just drop the Fields or the York. That felt very much like a very small town that would be here in the Pacific Northwest, is a town called Tally. So I put that on there. And then Royal Bay, we have a lot of towns with the name Bay. We got like Depot Bay and Coos Bay here in Oregon. So I felt like Royal Bay was a very good name because we have Kings Punch Bowl State Park up over here. So the Royal Bay, and then here's the Kings Punch Bowl. Right here, as everything pours in, you kind of get this punch bowl effect before it flows out to the rest of the bay. So I was like, this is perfect. This is a great opportunity to make a little state park. So we're going to have a little state park right here, King's Punch Bowl. We also got another state park up here, some name suggestion by Racing Fan, Colossus, and I loved it. So this is Colossus Canyon. And the Colossus being one of the bigger waterfall sections here in this map on Juniper Coast. And really a beautiful section right here. I absolutely love this. It's nice tucked away. It's going to be a very beautiful section of the map. So we got 2 state parks that are going to kind of hold a really nice kind of low-key section, very recreational. Kind of got an idea there for those. We also have Gamble Cove. Now, I also spelled it differently than before. I think it was spelled Gambol, which I was very tempted to do, which I'll leave it to the name suggestions. I'm going to spell it the way that I know it can be spelled right here. If you think in the comments, if you think it should be spelled with an OL instead of an LE, let me know and I will rename that. We also have Venus Bay right here. The suggestion, I believe, was Venusville, but I wanted to try to minimize the amount of towns so that we could have like smaller towns further spaced apart and then really focus on one central city. And so I decided to name Venus Bay right here next to Balos City. It was East Balos City in the suggestions. Balos, I think we'll call it Balos for the sake of simplicity. I decided to drop the east because I didn't know if it was actually going to be in the east or if it was going to be in a different direction. So I just named it Balos City. I think that was a really good suggestion as well. So yeah, I tried getting everyone's name suggestions into this little map section. I think we did a very good job at that. And it feels very natural. It feels really good. Let's show you, I'm going to show you all the road network really quickly. This is going to be explaining a lot. This part is going to be explaining a lot of sort of the lore behind this, and we've got a lot of mountain ranges and things like that. I really like how it turned out. So obviously you start right along here. We don't have a name for this section right here. We could name this section. The more name suggestions, the better. If you see a place that's not named, in fact, let me zoom out here. If you see a place that's not named on here, and you think there's a good name, let me know. Obviously, I'm trying to do overarching, sweeping names, not just like, oh, let's name this little tiny district right over here. Obviously, we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those that we'll come back to on a regular basis. Oh, that does remind me. We'll go back to the observatory and I'll explain the observatory as well. But if you see something that there isn't like a name, like if you feel like there's this peninsula that needs a name or like a mountain range right here that could use some names, this mountain range technically has a name already. It's just not laid out like this. And I'll show you that in a minute. But if you find like this needs to have a name, or like the beaches need to have a name or anything like that, let me know in the comments and I will definitely try my best to make that happen. So we'll zoom down here to the town of Tally. Obviously there's nothing down here right now. It's just I turned off the edge fog to make it a little bit easier to see everything. But we'll follow along the road here and you can see there are some trains here, some really basic trains. I've been looking in the Steam Workshop at certain assets to change the trains to make them less vanilla. Also doing that with some of the trucks as well. As you can see, we got a UPS truck already on the road delivering past the town of Tally here. Now, what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to have Tally be sort of our small town, kind of off in the distance. Very low population, very basic things going on down over here. So as you can tell, we've got sort of like this highway coming along here. We'll rename the highways and things like that as well. Like, we're going to go really into detail here. We're going to make this a personal thing, and then when it's all said and done, I'll upload it onto the Steam Workshop for everyone to download. That could be 6 months, a year, 2 years. I have no idea. We're just going to keep working at this until we have it in a very good position that we like. But we'll probably just have a road just coming straight off here into Tally. We might upgrade this and have Tally be part of this. All suggestions are welcome. We're not going to work on Tally right away. Tally's going to be sort of our fresh start town, if you will. We're going to work on one of these others first. But this is going to be our sort of fresh town start. There we go. And obviously we have good access to the train line right here. So we'll work on the train line. Then coming across this bridge, we have a really nice bridge, which we are actually going to redo the bridge in this episode. We're going to make it look nice. We're going to use this episode as an opportunity to sort of get the road network the way we want. And maybe possibly get sort of the basic starts going here. Obviously we've got a nice little roundabout here. Two little highway roads coming here. We obviously got a lot of traffic coming through here. We'll use some traffic manager to help sort that out and make it, a little bit more flowing of traffic. So we come off into this almost island section over here. We got a nice little roundabout. We got this nice little high mountain range off on a peninsula island. Another road network right here that sort of comes off. Couple tunnels that you can go through. So this is probably going to be another small network, small communities here and there. It's not any dedicated town unless you feel like there needs to be a dedicated town here. It's going to be a lot of low density in this section here, separate from Tally, and you will have to go the long way to go to this town. So we will need some name suggestions for this little network right over here. Then up here in Royal Bay is going to be sort of our smaller community town, if you will. So this is going to be more of a proper town. So Tally's going to be like very, very small. Like we're talking, we're going to try to keep it probably within 1,000 people. We're talking your rural small towns off the side of the roads. Royal Bay is going to be more of your like mid-sized town, if you will. We're going to have some, good grids. We're going to have probably some good communities and whatnot up in this. I'm going to zoom in so that the ambient noise is a little bit lower. But we got lots of flat land here, good, decent access to the highway. We're going to have some nice communities up in here. So any suggestions are more than welcome. Obviously we got the rail network, road network as well. And a proper highway, interstate here, coming right next to the Punch Bowl State Park. We might do some state park work in this episode. Then as we're coming down over here, we've got nice open land. We don't really have too much going on. We're going to have a lot of open land. And then we've got Gamble Cove over here. Gamble Cove is going to be great because when you exit here off this little interchange, which I absolutely love this interchange, by the way, it's a tunnel, and then when you exit, you actually have the roundabout up top, which you can go off onto sort of a state road through here on the backside and follow the river through the gorge. I really like that. So Gamble Cove is sort of going to be the suburbs for the major city. This is where the suburbs are really going to start. Even though Gamble Cove is going to sort of have its own naming convention, it's going to have its own, communities and amenities and things like that. Whereas this section right over here, we might start having some commercials, some malls, before we have just a little bit, even though we have this exit right here, we're going to have a little bit of green space before we get to the main part of the city, Balos City. Balos City is where everything's going to be. We got this nice coastline right here. We're going to probably use the beach on Venus Bay for some things. We're going to probably have a few other like high density and high value items here, probably our university, our airport, and a lot of other things. Other than that, we don't have too much happening. We do have all this green space up in here. We're probably gonna put some sort of small community up in this neck of the woods by Colossus Canyon, and then obviously King's Punch Bowl and Colossus Canyon we're gonna try to keep as untouched as possible. Now you're probably wondering what this middle island is going to be for, and this is also going to be, you know, we're probably gonna have some communities down here, but this is going to be Elysian Road. Elysian Road, no, that's the name of the road, but it's going to be the Elysian Peaks or Elysian Island. I'm going to let you guys pick which one you like, but this is the Elysian Peaks Observatory. This one right here is Elysian Peak. Right here, our tallest peak is Elysian Peak, and of course we have the observatory at the top. Now, we're going to build this city just as a city. We're not gonna do it in any particular order. We're not going to have any. Here we go. We'll give you the view. We're not gonna have any specific way that we're gonna build it. We're not gonna be like, you know, we're gonna build this community up over time, and Balos City is going to be first, and this, that, or the other thing. No, we're just gonna work on the map until it looks good, and we're gonna work on it however I feel like working on it. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, as you can see, we've got a lot of open space. And this is probably the hardest part for me, is what to start with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finally hook up the observatory to the road using the dirt road. We're going to get that going so that we can at least get it hooked up to the road network. We're going to probably work on a couple of other road issues to make sure things are flowing, including those roundabouts. And then we're probably going to, I don't know, well, I think we'll probably jump into the state parks and get the state parks looking good so that there's a reason for people to at least start showing up. So let's go ahead and jump into that, shall we? We'll start the time-lapse now. Okay, here we are with the voiceover right now, and I just kind of wanted to go over my thoughts on how the build's going and just how, like, grateful I am to be able to start a new series like this. I wanted to start out connecting the dirt road all the way down to the base of the mountain, and this was a much tougher task than I had originally thought. I was really trying hard to get everything lined up and try to, you know, follow it along with the terrain, and for some reason I just couldn't get it to line up exactly the way that I thought it was supposed to line up. Like that area where it just crossed over that area that I'm adjusting right now, it felt too off, and I kept trying to use the Move It mod to adjust it, and didn't quite work out how I thought. And then I found out later on, you might see it here in a minute, that I was actually too high on the slope. So I actually had to go through with the tool you see right now. I had to go through and reslope the terrain instead of trying to go through and make it all look right. So I might go back, might adjust that a little bit more, but some of those cliffs do feel a little bit natural, especially higher up on the mountain. But overall, like, I'm really liking this new series. It feels very much like I can just play and enjoy it and build how I want to, and then show you all the progress. So what I wanted to do, I put in a little national road right there, and I wanted it to feel like you're still going through the countryside. I might connect it up to one of the main roads later. But I wanted to make sure that there was some sort of big highway that was cutting through that part. I also noticed when I was loading things in that traffic is really bad at this particular roundabout. I think I mentioned it in the live play. I'm not 100% sure, but I wanted to make sure that this traffic was taken care of before things got too far in it. So I went through and I did some adjustments using Traffic Manager in order to get it working the way that I wanted to. Now, obviously, when you're starting in City Skylines, one of the first things that you're going to want to do is get electricity and water, and if you have it, the heat, you'll want to get those going, otherwise you'll get a ton of complaints. So I decided to get some water going, and I did forget sewage, but I wanted to get some clean energy in this particular city. I want it to feel like a city. Obviously, we'll probably end up having some coal and oil power plants, maybe even a nuclear power plant, I don't know. But I wanted to have kind of all sorts of different power in this city to feel more like an actual city. Once I obviously got the power and water situation taken care of, now came probably the hardest part for me, and I spent quite a while trying to find exactly what I wanted to put in here, and you'll see how long. I'm gonna try not cutting any of my gameplay, so whenever I play on this series, you're gonna see exactly what I went through. So originally I was thinking that I wanted to have a direct highway connection coming through from this T-junction. I wanted to pull an additional part of the highway down and have the highway going straight to the coastline and have it connect up to the city that way. Now later on you'll see it, and I'll mention it when you see it. Later on you'll see that I figured out a better solution for it using some highway connections. Now I stumbled on this one. It was a really good T-junction, and I was thinking we could just pull in a better highway connection, or not a highway connection, sort of like a arterial road rather, cutting down through this. I really like the design of this because you have two sets of 3 roads. You've got the highway connections, and then you have the arterial connections. Which I think will be perfect for our city. I'm really excited for how it's supposed to look. Like genuinely, I'm really excited because now we can have this huge amount of the city that kind of is connected with this highway that's coming through here. And we can have multiple highway connections cutting through the bigger parts of the city, which I think feels a little bit more natural. I'm, obviously thinking about, what the major city near me. I'm thinking about Portland, Vancouver, Seattle, and that sort of neck of the woods. And I'm thinking about I-5 coming through those cities and running along the rivers and whatnot, but they do feel like they cut through a good portion of downtown. So I was thinking that would be perfect with these arterial connections cutting through. Obviously, I'm reconnecting the rail network right now. I'm not focused on the roads, but with those roads coming across there, it could feel more natural, and we could actually have people who want to stay in the city staying in the city, and the people who want to bypass it can bypass it. And obviously we get traffic flowing now in the city, which is great, which is perfect, and works out great. So now I'm going to start working on the main part of the city. This is Balos City, obviously, and we're wanting this to be the main hub for where everybody stays. So obviously doing some lane management, wanting to make sure cars stay in the lanes that they want, and they pick their lane when they enter the traffic. That's going to be very important if you have Traffic Manager. Very important to keep things going. Now, this was the original plan for the city. I was going to have this weird kind of angled road coming through because I wanted to kind of go around the slope. And I saw the complaint for the heat at this point, so I'm putting in the heating right now in the main part of the city. This is probably where the industry is going to end up. I'm super excited for how it's going to look later, but for right now, it's just going to be a little area to keep our heat. Now, for some reason, I had an ADHD thought and decided to try to figure out some sort of bridge. I wanted to change this bridge over here to be the Golden Gate Bridge. I wanted to have like some sort of really big thing over here. And I tried switching it over, and then you see that clipping right there, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. So I undid it. And I just totally ignored it. So I spent like for you, it was a blink of an eye. For me, it was a good 3 to 4 minutes that I spent on that. Now, this may seem very frantic. This is the first episode. I'm trying to get everything sort of up and running in this first episode, and so I was a little bit more frantic in this one than I wanted to be, but I think it still worked out. So as you can see, I found a really interesting asset in the Steam Workshop that basically gives you the layout of an entire city. And as you can see, I just placed it down, and I already have sort of this streetcar, light rail, monorail, whatever you want to call it, rail network that goes around the outside, as well as the main train line that follows alongside the highway, and an additional highway. So instead it opted for that, to have a highway bypass come through, which I think really, really worked out, because now we can have sort of almost this beltway that bypasses the city and has a main network cutting in. It really turned out. I was really happy with how this worked, but because of where it was positioned, that means I had to do some more adjustments. Now, obviously, as you can see, I have more options, and I checked that to see if that would work, and thank goodness I had the Undo Smart Intersections mod, because I was really considering putting in an additional one, but I think when it comes to the rest of the network for the town, I think we will put it in more manually. So now we got yet another intersection. That's sort of the story of this episode, is intersections, intersections, intersections. Trying to figure out a bunch of different intersections that would work, and I wanted this particular one, the diverging diamond, because it just felt to me to be a little bit more like what it should. In this part of the city, it's just on the outside. I'm probably not going to be putting in any major connections to the highway out here. I'm probably going to leave the rail line as sort of the basis of the limits of Belos City, at least on this side. So I wanted the diverging diamond because it felt more like something you would see closer to the edges of the city, more to the closer to where the city and suburbs meet. Obviously now I'm using a little bit of node controller. I'm going to try to do this on a lot of the intersections, but there are quite a few that I still missed. Just the major intersections like this one. I wanted to have some sort of design to make it look like it actually is supposed to be there. I'm really happy with how this one turned out, though. It genuinely looks really, really nice, and I'm quite happy with it. I'm quite happy with that connection. Obviously, I missed the connections on the diverging diamond. I probably will get that at a later time if I remember it. Yell at me in the comments if I forget. But honestly, I'm super happy with how it turned out. Even with this whole 3 lanes to 4 and whatnot, I see this a lot in cities where the lane just sort of ends and you're forced to merge, or it just sort of splits off randomly. At least around here, I see that a lot. I don't know if that's the case in other parts of the country or other parts of the world where the lane just sort of ends. There's not really anything going on. And so, because it's a beltway and there's two different directions, I wanted to also have some sort of beltway connection over here. But over here definitely felt a little bit more rural. Obviously, with all the trees, we're probably going to have it be, more farmland in this direction. Well, maybe not farmland, but, it's coming from the edge of the map. It feels like it's coming through that mountain pass. Just having that little A junction there where it splits off is fine. I don't think I actually got into adjusting that to where I wanted. I don't think I actually connected the other part of the beltway yet. So I think everybody funnels into the one direction. This is where I noticed I forgot sewage. I was starting to place all the amenities and whatnot, and I forgot the water treatment. So obviously I'm plopping in the sewage there. You notice I haven't been dealing with pipes anywhere else. I have the no need for power lines or pipes mod. Those two mods I don't have. So I won't be worried about pipes as much. I will actually, though, be worried about the power lines. Probably not immediately. Right now I was more focused on getting people into the city and starting to place amenities down, getting things, where they should be, where I think they should go, and things like that. I was just more concerned about getting those in. As you can see, I'm starting to put in people into this city, which did work out. I'm trying to avoid the roundabout areas and the main roads, save the main roads for commercial and industry. I put a little industry here. We're going to more focus on the actual industry DLC, and then we'll put in a few offices as well as part of this city. And with that, we're actually at the end of this episode. It went by really, really fast. I'm super looking forward to the rest of this series. Let me know what you'd like to see, how you'd like to see it in the comments. I'm going to try to record these episodes a couple episodes in advance so that they're ready to go. So I might not respond to your comments immediately, but I'll try to at least message you. So as we zoom out from here, I hope you all have a wonderful day from Balos City and Juniper Coast. Thank you so much for watching. You all have a lovely, lovely evening.